Okay guys, I do apologise, we just missed a bit of the race. This is because obviously unable to change cars just as they go on to obviously the green light lap, obviously first lap of the race. So in first place so far you've got Dylan in the Bentley. Some of the guys I believe have changed cars for this evening, and I believe it's because I think they've been allowed to change cars. So you've got Dylan in first place, then you've got Chris Cleaver in his Mercedes. Will he repeat his victory from last week when we were at Spa-Francorchamps? Tonight we are at the legendary Zolder circuit, staying in Belgium. Then you've got Rodo in the Nissan GTR. Then you've got Andy White in his trusty Aston Martin. Dan Bailey making a series return. He was obviously in the Ferrari last week, but he's now in the Honda, which is a very striking livery on his Honda. Then you've got Doug Idol in the Mercedes, and obviously Jack and Dan Wyatt both in McLarens. Then you've got Fred Coleman in the Lexus, and then of course Scott Fenton, and then Ben Smith in the yellow and the blue and probably black Ferrari. So yes, I do apologise guys if there was any issues to do with the stream, but at the moment we're just going to focus on a couple of battles that are focusing around the circuit. I believe Dan Bailey and Andy White are battling for 4th and 5th at the moment. I'll just check that everyone can hear me correctly and everything is okay. So hello Darren, how's it going mate? So yeah, as I was saying, basically, you know, I do apologise for the lateness, or kind of a bit disappointed with different versions of the stream. You know, as I say, it can be very disappointing, but other than that, you know, we are here at Zolder and it's going to be very interesting. As I say, you got Rodo and Silver Carter and Dylan, the top 3 at the moment, followed by Andy White in the Aston Martin as he goes slightly wide into turn number 1. You've got Dan Bailey closing him down. So the Aston Martin versus the Honda NSX. Then you obviously have Doug Idol, and then of course Jack and Diddy. Scott Fenton is already trying to push on potentially for potentially another race win. Basically last time out of Spa, Scott had just pipped, I think it was pipped Fred Coleman to 3rd place at Spa, just on the line. But you know, you got this battle between obviously Dan and of course Scott Fenton and of course Jack as well. So Fred Coleman at the moment in 10th place as we go up over the rise. As I say, it's going to be very interesting to see what goes on, but Scott Fenton and Dan Wyatt have a bit of contact going into the chicane, which allows, oh, it was a bit unfortunate there, but you know, that's caused a bit of issues for Scott Fenton and Dan Wyatt. That is just, you know, that's pretty unfortunate as Ben Smith gets tangled up in the repercussions there within Scott Fenton, and of course Dan Wyatt having a bit of a battle and a bit of a knock. Dan Bailey now up into 4th place with Doug Idol in 5th. I believe Andy White has dropped down to potentially 7th place. Yes, he has. You've got Fred Coleman in 8th place, then followed by Scott Fenton. You can still see that Audi R8, I believe. You know, that will probably go down in the stewards with Scott Fenton and Dan Wyatt, but we shall see what they can do. But obviously at the moment you've got Rodo in that Nissan GTR at the moment, still in 3rd place. Dylan is eking out that gap from Silver Carter, Chris Cleaver, to near enough 4 seconds now. I'm not too familiar with the corner names here at Zolder, but you know, it'll be very interesting. Dan Bailey getting a bit under pressure from Doug Idol now, so Doug's going to be on a massive charge. Doug wants to potentially eke the advantage to try and gain up onto the back of Stan Bailey. Spins into that chicane now, which is kind of, I think I nearly put the commentator's curse, so he's allowed Jack Evans and of course Andy White and of course Fred Coleman to get through, so he's dropped 3 places there, which is a bit unfortunate. Scott Fenton is going to be in the background lurking to catch him up. You've got Dan Wyatt and of course Ben Smith battling for 10th and 11th at the moment. So it's going to be very interesting here. So as I say, it is the Eldar Racing brought to you by Idol4 Gaming. Without Darren, we wouldn't be having a sponsor for this league. And yes, it is the one and only Hoppers in the commentary box this evening. And good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're watching the stream from around the world, guys. It should be for a cracker. I'm just going to check further up what's going on. I believe Jack now has got up into potentially 5th place. Yes, he will be pushing on. He's changed the colour scheme for his McLaren to a sort of a bronze colour. He's got Andy White chasing him down in the Aston Martin. So Jack needs to get a move on to potentially escape. You've got Fred Coleman in the Lexus, the sole Lexus RCF. Fair play to Fred there. You've got Dan Bailey chasing him down. You've got this battle at the moment between Jack and of course Andy White. So the McLaren versus Aston Martin, both British manufacturers are chasing each other for potentially 5th and 6th position. I believe the pit lane window is actually technically open now, so they can pit any time. It is a 50-minute race and anything can happen in this race, as we proved last week. You've got Dan Bailey getting chased by Scott Fenton, so Scott Fenton will have to make, trying to get some ground up there at the moment. But yes, it is going to be very interesting. Zolder isn't the nicest tracks for overtaking in some parts, but it will be technically, hopefully, one of them. But hopefully we get some spectacular racing. Andy White now is trying to close on to the back of Jack Evans, going into the final turn as we start another lap with 40 minutes and 38 seconds until the checkered flag drops here at Zolder. As I say, I do apologise for issues on my end for getting the stream up late, but never mind, these things happen. But we are going to be in for a cracker of a evening. You've got Fred Coleman chasing down Andy White as well. He's obviously trying to get onto the latch of Jack Evans there, but Jack gets a bit sideways. They're going to slowly catch up to Doug Idol as well, but we'll see what's going on further back. We've got Chris Cleaver trying to catch up to Dylan, but Dylan's eking out that gap at the moment, so we'll go back to this battle. Fred Coleman there trying to latch onto the back of Jack Evans as we go up and over the rise, but there is a yellow flag, I believe, but I think that's been pulled in now. But Fred Coleman there chasing down Jack Evans as Jack runs a bit wide there. His brakes are hot. It's going to be very interesting. So we've got 40 minutes of this race to go as Fred Coleman tries to make a move on Jack Evans, which he does, or doesn't he? Jack Evans closes the door, but Fred Coleman, bit of contact there, so that's going to push Jack Evans down bit of positions there. You've got Dan Bailey making a comeback from his sort of a spin with sort of a spin out there. You've got Ben Smith in that yellow and black Ferrari potentially chased Jack Evans for potentially now I believe that's 8th place now, I think. Yes it is, it's just updated. But then you've got Doug Idol and Andy White still in 4th and 5th. You've got Fred Coleman chasing Andy White down, and then Scott Fenton, obviously the Irishman, potentially in that Audi R8, potentially now going to be chasing the likes of Fred Coleman and Andy White down, and hopefully probably catch onto the back of Doug Idol. But you've got Ben Smith, obviously, as I say, in that yellow and black and blue Ferrari, with Jack Evans coming on at a great speed of knots. Going to be fantastic to see. You've got Dan Bailey in that Honda NSX lurking in the background, and I believe Dan Wyatt is rounding up the field. He's going to have to catch on to the back of these guys, but it's going to be fantastic. I believe there's going to be a few issues regarding what's been going on. But you know, Scott Fenton is trying to chase after, of course, Andy White and of course Fred Coleman for potentially 5th and 6th. But that Audi R8, you know, it's going to be amazing to see what he can do. You know, it's going to be probably one of the easiest. But you see Scott Fenton, the Irishman, obviously, you know, he's obviously doing well, but he's obviously, I don't know whether he struggled in qualifying, but you know, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. You know, you've got Ben Smith getting chased by Jack Evans, but slowly but surely Jack's going to drop into the clutches of Dan Bailey, and then obviously Dan Wyatt bringing up the field. But as I say, it's going to be very interesting going back to this battle between Fred Coleman and Scott Fenton. You know, Fred Coleman in the Lexus RCF, fair play to him, you know, he's doing very well. But Scott Fenton has got past Fred Coleman for potentially now 6th place, so it could be quite an interesting battle this, as Andy White hops the curb going into that chicane before we go up the rise, and then obviously over the hill. As I say, Zolder is kind of narrow in certain places, but you know, Fred Coleman there putting on the charge of Scott Fenton. You know, Scott Fenton does run a bit wide over the curb there, but it'll be fantastic to see what these guys can do. As I say, you know, this is probably the fourth round of the championship. I believe there's 3 rounds to go, so it will be very interesting to see what they can do within, obviously, the remaining rounds of this championship. As I say, it's Eldar Racing, brought to you by Idol4 Gaming, and it's going to be spectacular. So yes, got Scott Fenton now trying to chase down Andy White. You've got Doug Idol still in 4th place at the moment. You've got Rodo in that Nissan GTR trying to catch up to Silver Carter, and obviously Dylan is miles up ahead. But then, you know, it's going to be very interesting. Fred Coleman runs a bit wide going into turn number 1, but I believe Ben Smith and of course Jack Evans are going to be bringing up a bit of a battle shortly, but we'll see what happens. Dan Bailey in the NSX also trying to push on. You can see a bit of tyre marks there, and Dan Wyatt as well. But you know, going back to Scott Fenton, he's onto the latch back of Andy White, as Andy White gets a squiggle and a squirm as Fred Coleman hops the curb in the background. But Scott Fenton's going to try and take Andy White this lap. I believe he'll try and take him into here. It's not one of the easiest overtaking here, but you know, is he going to try and see what he can do? But as I say, Scott Fenton is right on the boot lid of Andy White going into the latter part of the lap. Doug Idol's just up the road. Is Scott Fenton going to try and make a move now? Yes, he does. Gets it done, but Andy White tries to have the switch back, and he's now going to try and still catch on to the back of Scott Fenton. But you see, it is going to be amazing. Scott Fenton now takes 5th place from Andy White in the Aston Martin, so the Audi leads the Aston Martin at the moment. The next target for Scott Fenton will be none other than Doug Idol in the Mercedes, but it will be potentially one of them. But as you see, Fred Coleman in 7th, you got Ben Smith. Finally, I think he's got past Jack Evans there. Yes, he has. Dan Bailey will be the next target for Jack to be chased by, and I believe Dan Wyatt is slowly but surely at the moment at the back. You've got Dylan in the Bentley, so we'll just have a look at the Bentley of Dylan at the moment, trying to chase down or eke out that lead, shall I say, with 33 and 45 seconds remaining. Got Silver Carter in 2nd place. You've got Rodo so far in 3rd place. Doug Idol 4th. I believe he's not 4th now. I do apologise. He has actually been overtaken by Scott Fenton and Andy White, slowly but surely chased by Fred Coleman. So Scott Fenton now is up into 4th place, and Andy White is now 5th. I didn't see that when we looked at the timing screen, but you see Fred Coleman in the Lexus now trying to chase down, I believe, Ben Smith, who's still 8th. Got Dan Bailey now got past Jack Evans, so there's also a chance for potentially 9th and 10th. So it's going to be very interesting. Dan Bailey runs a bit deep going into the penultimate turn there, so it will be very interesting. The Honda NSX slowly but surely holding off the McLaren at the moment, as we see Dan Bailey there. And what a beauty! Oh, he runs a bit wide into the gravel there, which pushes him back down to 10th place at the moment. You've got Dan Wyatt, the other McLaren, trying to latch onto the back of this, but this is another battle. I believe Doug is, I don't know whether Doug's struggling or not, but you know, he's falling into clutches of Fred Coleman. Andy White is still there, but Doug's trying to get past him at the same time. But during the process, you've got Fred Coleman in that Lexus RCF trying to chase Doug down, as well as Andy White. Andy White yet again hops the curb, hops, skips and jumps the curb, and Fred Coleman there trying to make a move on the outside of Doug Idol. He'll have the inside line, but Doug's closed the door, but Fred's got the move done there before they exit the chicane here. Ben Smith lurking in the background as well, but you know, this race is still a long way to go. We've still got 31 and 42 seconds remaining, so it's going to be proper interesting. Jack Evans there still trying to get a gap from Dan Bailey, and the two Dans, Dan Wyatt and of course Dan Bailey, are going to be battling very shortly. But Andy White in the Aston Martin now is going to be potentially try and chase up to Scott Fenton. I believe Scott Fenton in the Audi R8, yes, even though he's 4th, you know, he's got that gap there between himself and Andy White. So, you know, Fred Coleman in the Lexus, you know, it was amazing to see what Fred did last time out in Spa-Francorchamps last weekend. And yes, Doug Idol is also trying to chase them down, so the Mercedes is trying to hold on. But basically, I believe, you know, Doug's trying to obviously chase these guys down, but you know what I mean, it's going to be potentially very exciting. I don't know if anyone's pitted yet. I believe Dan Wyatt's jumped into pit lane, but maybe he's trying to do what we think he's going to do, is he's going to try and do an amazing strategy. But we see Fred Coleman there potentially now chasing down Andy White for potentially 5th place here, as he tries to make his overtake in his favourite overtaking spot. He tries to go on the inside and then outside, but you know, he's going to try and get the move done on Andy White, but Andy White closes the door. And you know, Fred Coleman here, I believe he's you know, he's putting a good fight in that Lexus, but the Aston Martin isn't going to give up. He's going to push on. I believe Andy White actually runs wide as we just put the commentator's curse on him. Chris Cleaver jumps into pit lane, which allows Rodo up into potentially 2nd place. Andy White dives into pit lane just to get some fresh tyres. So that's going to be very interesting. You've got Doug Idol now going to be chasing after Fred Coleman, and then Ben Smith, and I believe Jack Evans and Dan Bailey. So Jack is just in 9th place at the moment, but he's probably going to be in 8th place very shortly. Dan Bailey jumps, I believe Dan Bailey's now jumped into pit lane. Yes, he has. So that's going to be very interesting indeed. Scott Fenton eking out that gap, trying to chase up to Dylan and of course Rodo for potentially 2nd and 1st, but we'll see what happens there. Got Fred Coleman in the Lexus getting chased by Doug Idol, but it's going to be very interesting. Ben Smith also in the top 6 at the moment. Ben Smith had a podium last time out. He was actually really thrilled with that podium at Spa-Francorchamps. So you've got Jack Evans, and I believe, well, Jack's in 7th place. Dan Wyatt is a lap down, sadly. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. You've got Fred Coleman 4th, you've got Scott Fenton 3rd, you've got Rodo in 2nd place at the moment. You've got Dylan in that beautiful Bentley in 1st place at the moment, but you've got Doug and I believe Fred Coleman still battling, but it's going to be very interesting. Ben Smith trying to latch onto the back of Doug Idol going into the final turn, so it is going to be all or nothing with over half an hour to go now, so it'll be pretty much easy for these guys. You know, it's going to be probably one of the easiest races we've seen. But I believe Silver Carter, Andy White and Dan Bailey, as Dan Bailey comes out of pit lane, did not see what happened to Doug. I think Doug's struggling a bit in that Mercedes, so it's now allowed, I believe, it's now allowed Dan Bailey to potentially close up to him. Don't know whether Dan's lost a lap during the pit stop, but Doug is now up into, well, he's in 6th place. You got Jack Evans, and of course, so Silver Carter will probably push on. He's going to be potentially there. Andy White there, Dan Bailey, and so I believe the other guys have got quite a few laps. Doug is really struggling at the moment in that Mercedes. I don't know whether him and Ben had a bit of contact, but it looked like when Dan was coming out of pit lane that Doug had gone wide. But you got Ben Smith doing very well at the moment, so you got Doug defending from Dan Bailey, but I believe Dan Bailey is about at least a couple of laps down, but I don't know whether they've just had a bit of a coming together there, which is a bit unfortunate there. But you got Fred Coleman staying out, so you got Rodo and of course Scott Fenton in pit lane. Ben Smith just in the Ferrari there. I believe Doug's now jumped into pit lane, so that's going to be a bit of a cat and a mouse game to catch up, so it'll be very interesting. You've got Jack Evans still trying, you know, putting a lap on Dan White, and I believe that's now pushed. Silver Carter will be coming through. You've got Andy White and of course Diddy and of course Dan Bailey. It's not the easiest track, as I say. You know, there is a lot of room, but you know, certain places don't give you enough room here. But as you see Fred Coleman there, potentially now pushing on. You know, fair play to Fred, he's doing very well in that Lexus. You know, he must be gelling with that Lexus. You know, track temperature is 36 degrees, so it is a baking hot day over in Zolder. But you know, it's going to be very interesting. Ben Smith still on course, potentially for another podium if he keeps it together. You've got Jack Evans trying to now get that gap from Rodo and of course Scott Fenton and of course Doug Idol. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Dan Bailey and Dan White sadly are a lap down, but you know, Andy White's also going to be in that battle. Chris Cleaver at the moment has got Scott Fenton trying to, I don't know whether Scott's ahead of him on laps, but it's going to be very interesting. So it's going to be very interesting. Scott Fenton and Chris Cleaver are up to 5th and 6th, so it is actually updated itself. Doug is really struggling. I believe he picked up some damage in some of the incidences. He's just rejoined. Basically Dan Wyatt and Dan Bailey are still battling. You've got I believe number 8 Scott Fenton has a drive-through penalty for track limits, so that's going to push him a bit. That's going to push him down. So Jack Evans jumps into pit lane. Ben Smith still out there. Dylan exiting pit lane now is in 2nd place, but you've got Fred Coleman leading the race now, so that's going to be fantastic for Fred. You know, he's obviously gelling with this Lexus, you know, but you know, it's going to be one of them. I believe Ben Smith as well in the Ferrari. Ben could be on course for probably yet another podium if he keeps it together. You've got Dylan there trying to chase them down, but you know, it's going to be potentially very interesting. You've got Scott Fenton obviously, unfortunately, with drive-through penalties, so that's going to really hurt him. He doesn't need to have a drive-through penalty though, but you know, it's a bit of a shame for him. But you know, it's going to be pushing Chris Cleaver to try and catch up to him for 5th place at the moment, but you know, anything can happen. You've got Andy White in 7th, you've got Rodo in that Nissan GTR chasing him down, but you've got Doug Idol. I think Doug's struggling slightly but surely. You've got Jack Evans potentially still in pit lane, so that's going to be very interesting to see. But it's going to be amazing, and I'll tell you this, we'll just go back. Dan Bailey and Dan White are now having a bit of a battle together. So the two Dans, the McLaren versus the Honda NSX. You've got Dylan potentially pushing on, trying to catch up to obviously Fred and of course Ben Smith. But you know, it's going to be probably one of them. We've got just under 23 minutes to go, but you know, anything can happen. Scott Fenton at the moment in that Audi R8, he's pushing on a bit, but you know, it's going to be very interesting. He makes his drive-through penalty now, but that's going to hurt him. That is really going to hurt him as Chris Cleaver goes onto the start-finish line while Scott takes his drive-through penalty. So that's going to push Scott down a bit of the order, depending on how quick his drive-through penalty does go. Obviously, bear in mind pit lane speed will have to apply, but poor old Scott, he's now lost quite a few positions there. So he would have lost position from Andy White and of course Rodo. So that has pushed Scott Fenton potentially down into, I believe that's pushed him down now into 7th, is it? So his drive-through penalty now has cleared, so you know, that's probably pushed him down a bit. You've got Fred Coleman making his pit stop. I believe Ben Smith may make his pit stop as well, but that's pushed Scott Fenton right down, potentially into 7th place. Yes, it has, but that's going to be very interesting. Ben Smith now inherits the lead, but it is going to be very interesting for Coleman in pit lane. Dylan is just coming onto the start-finish line, so he will probably will take first place when Ben Smith does pit, but at the moment he will be out into 2nd place. You've got Dan Wyatt and Dan Bailey still battling, and obviously you've got Silver Carter trying to catch up to none other than Dylan, but I believe Andy White is also there. So at the moment you've got Rodo and Andy White having a bit of a battle. Scott Fenton now has a bit of a gap. Jack Evans unfortunately has a lap against him now from Ben Smith, but you know, Doug there in the Mercedes, you know, I feel sorry for Doug. He's having a bit of a tough season at the moment, but you've got Dan Bailey and Dan Wyatt having a bit of a battle. Dylan gets past these guys going in, and Dylan hops the curb there in the Bentley, but that's not going to unsettle him. Dylan's a really good racer. Fred Coleman still in pit lane, so that's going to be hampering his challenges for a bit. But you've got Ben Smith potentially in that Ferrari. He's got Jack Evans, even though Jack is a lap down, but Ben Smith jumps into pit lane, so hopefully Dylan can get up into the lead. But you know, you never know, Ben Smith might have a proper decent pit stop, you know, but as I say, anything can happen in this race. We've got 20 minutes to go, so anything can happen. Ben Smith probably going to be happy with potentially how his race is going, so Dylan will potentially now inherit the lead. You've got Chris Cleaver just coming through the last bit of the course now. He's just going through the last couple of corners to potentially take, probably will take 2nd from Ben Smith, depending if Ben gets out of pit lane in time, but we'll see what goes on. But you've got Andy White there, been chased by Rodo, but Rodo in the red Nissan GTR still doing a fine job trying to catch up, but it is going to be very tight. Scott Fenton up into 6th place, but Scott's going to have a mammoth challenge to catch up to these guys. I do feel sorry for Scott, I really do, but you know, he's obviously pushed too hard, you know, and he's obviously trying to catch up to these guys. You've got Fred Coleman in the Lexus there in 7th. You've got Jack Evans still in 8th. Then you've got Doug Idol 9th, and Dan Bailey, and of course Dan Wyatt having a bit of a battle. So the two Dans are out in force with each other there. So you've got Dan Bailey in the NSX, which is quite a nice looking machine, and they've got Dan Wyatt in the McLaren there. So Silver Carter inherits 2nd place from Ben Smith, but Ben Smith is down in potentially now, I believe he's down now in 6th place. He will be, because Scott Fenton's now overtaken him, but Scott Fenton is on a mammoth charge. You know what Scott's like when he's had a bit of mistakes, he likes to make a mammoth charge. You've got Ben Smith still trying to eke him down, but you've got Fred Coleman lurking in the background in that Lexus. You've got Jack Evans and Doug Idol Still 8th and 9th. You've got Dan Bailey holding off Dan Wyatt potentially for 10th place at the moment. But if you see here, Silver Carter, Chris Cleaver, I believe he's going to try and chase down Dylan, but Dylan's a bit far up the road. You've got Andy White and Rodo still battling. Scott Fenton just going out of camera shot there. We'll just see what he's doing. But I believe Ben Smith is going to be under a lot of pressure from Fred Coleman any moment. Now you've got the Lexus chasing down this Ferrari of Ben Smith. It is going to be very interesting to see as Ben goes into the final turn to start another lap of the race. We've got 17 minutes and 20 seconds remaining, so all pit stops now can be completed. And I believe Doug's still there in 9th. You've got Dan Bailey in 10th and Dan Wyatt in 11th, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens between these guys. Obviously, as I say, Scott Fenton at the moment he's on a charge, but whether he's going to catch up to the back of Rodo and of course Andy White before the end of the race is a mystery, but you never know. It will be very interesting. Scott Fenton knows how to race, but I believe it will be very interesting. You've got Silver Carter trying to chase up to Dylan, but Dylan is quite a long way up the road at the moment. So you've got Scott Fenton, as you can see, the number 8 on the mini-map is slowly but surely catching up to Rodo in the Nissan GTR, but you know, Scott Fenton is going to have to push his way. You've got Fred Coleman and of course Ben Smith. Fred's now got past Ben Smith, so you know, positions have changed. But this is going to be pretty much interesting this time, as I believe Ben is going to have a bit of a wide battle there. You've got Fred Coleman in the Lexus now 6th place. You've got Jack Evans still in 8th. You've got Doug Idol still in 9th. But you know, Dan Bailey and of course Dan Wyatt, so they're going to have a bit of a battle because Dan Wyatt's getting very close. He's only 1.4 seconds behind Dan Bailey there, so the two Dans are going to be probably push and have a bit of a battle, but it's going to be very hard to see what goes on because you know, who knows Dan Bailey in that Honda NSX at the moment, what a fabulous job he's doing. Obviously, you know, he must be on cloud 9 trying to fend off Dan Wyatt for potentially 10th place at the moment. But you know, look at this, Scott Fenton, the Irishman, is now catching up to Rodo. Great speed or not, as I say, he's 3.4 seconds to Rodo's. Rodo runs wide going out of the chicane there. Scott Fenton now will be on his boot lead, but this is going to be fantastic stuff. I cannot believe what I am seeing. Scott Fenton, the Irishman, he is obviously on a charge. He's going to be potentially there. Ben Smith loses a bit of control going out of that chicane. You know, is that hampered him, or is it going to be another thing? But you know, he's in the Ferrari, but he's going to chase down Fred Coleman. I believe now Rodo is going to be under threat from Scott Fenton any moment now. But look at this battle. We've got a battle between, I believe, Andy White now is up in 2 seconds. He's got past Silver Carter for 3rd place. But this is going to be fantastic. We've got 2 battles going on, potentially 3. Silver Carter trying to overtake Andy White before they get to turn 1. Chris Cleaver, oh, he runs a bit deep, he runs a bit wide, but he's got Andy White on the outside. Both of them have a bit of contact, but that's not really enough contact. But you've got the battling side by side yet again. Chris Cleaver and Andy White going side by side, trying to... This is fantastic stuff from the two of them. I tell you what, Andy White in the Aston Martin versus Chris Cleaver in the Mercedes. So Mercedes versus Aston Martin. Chris Cleaver gets past Andy White and Scott Fenton in the background while we're watching this battle has now got past Rodo in the Nissan GTR. So the Eldar 8 is actually now on a charge. Scott Fenton is up into 4th place. So it's going to be very interesting. You got Fred Coleman leading the way, I believe, because Ben Smith is a bit far behind now. So then you got Doug and Jack Evans. You got Dan and Dan Wyatt. So you got Dan Bailey versus Dan Wyatt battling. So you got Scott Fenton now. He's now going to be on a charge now. He's obviously He's looked at the lap times of these guys, I believe. You know, he's probably thinking, well, these two have had a bit of a battle, but you know, Chris Cleaver and Andy White, fair play. What an absolute epic battle that was. And I'll tell you this, if it's anything like the last couple of weeks where they've all been racing exceptionally well, you know, Andy White there in the Aston Martin now going to be trying to chase down Chris Cleaver, but he's going to have the mirrors full of Scott Fenton's Audi R8 very shortly. Scott Fenton powers it towards the next turn, but Andy White's going to put the pedal to the floor because he wants to get away from Scott Fenton. You've got Frodo in the Nissan GTR still in 5th place, Fred Coleman 7th, you've got Ben Smith in 7th, Jack Evans 8th, you've got Doug Idol 9th, Dan Bailey and Dan Wyatt 10th and 11th. But we'll go back towards this battle between Scott Fenton and Andy White. Is Andy White going to defend from Scott Fenton? So the Irishman is going to probably put Andy White under a huge amount of pressure with 12 minutes to go. This is going to be potentially one of the amazing battles we have seen so far here at Zolder. Zolder, as I say, isn't a very easy track to overtake. It can be narrow in some places, but there has been, I believe Rodo's had a bit of a spin going into that chicane, which has allowed Fred Coleman and of course Ben Smith into 6th and 5th there. So Scott Fenton now going to be chasing down Andy White for potentially the last spot on the podium, but I believe Chris Cleaver now will have a bit of breathing space, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Ben Smith, as I say, in the Ferrari in 6th, Fred Coleman in 5th in that Lexus. But this is a battle between Andy White and of course Scott Fenton. Scott Fenton's now getting really close to the back of that Aston Martin. Is Andy White going to crack under pressure, or is Scott Fenton going to make a lunge? We shall see. But you know, Scott Fenton is actually now getting closer and closer to Andy White, Aston Martin there. This is going to be fantastic stuff. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Chris Cleaver hops the curb. Andy White and Scott Fenton are still going to be battling for the last spot on the podium. You've got coming up to 10.5 minutes remaining. It is going to be spectacular. Scott Fenton there needs to. He's got his mirror. He's got Andy White's mirrors now full of his Audi R8. Scott Fenton is on a charge. He's going to try and make a move. Andy White is going to try and defend. Yes, he does. Scott Fenton has to tuck in behind. Andy White runs a bit wide. Scott Fenton gets past with ease. So that's going to be one of the battles. It's going to be a talking point. But Andy White is probably not going to give up, because Scott Fenton and the Audi R8 will now have to chase onto the back of Chris Cleaver. But Scott Fenton is now on a charge after his drive-through penalty, up into 3rd place, should I say. But is he going to chase Silver Carter, Chris Cleaver? Just remember, the guys had a bit of a clash at Suzuka in the opening round, so we've got 9.5 minutes coming up. But this is going to be spectacular. Ben Smith still in 6th place. You've got Fred Coleman 5th, you've got Rodo in 7th, Jack Evans and Doug Idol potentially jumping in 8th and 9th. Then you've got Dan Bailey in that Honda NSX trying to chase down Doug for potentially 9th place, but it's going to be spectacular. But at the moment, we'll see if there's any big battles brewing. But at the moment, I believe Andy White has now had a bit of a gap from Scott Fenton. Now got a bit of a gap from him, should I say. But you know, anything can happen in this race. We've got just under 9 minutes to go, and Scott Fenton, fair play to him, is potentially going to be chasing him down. He's going to try and chase down Silver Carter, but in the process Andy White will try and chase. There's been obviously a yellow flag somewhere, I believe. I'm trying to find out where that is. I believe that's towards the back, so I believe or is it? But Rodo's now into potentially 6th place as Fred Coleman made a mistake, and Dylan's also going to try and put a lap on these guys now. So Silver Carter is going to be trying to get away from Scott Fenton. Scott Fenton is on a mission. He's a man on a mission, I tell you. But this is going to be very interesting. Fred Coleman versus Rodo for potentially 6th place. You've got Jack Evans potentially now still in 8th place at the moment. Got Doug Idol. I believe Doug Idol and Dan Bailey are still going to try and have a bit of a battle for 9th and 10th. But this is going to be fantastic stuff. I can't believe what I've seen this evening, but you know, it's been fantastic. Scott Fenton is still on that charge. He's still on the charge with Andy White chasing him, but you know, is Scott Fenton going to run out of time, or is he going to allow, as you can see, Chris Cleaver there just going out the shot. We got Andy White trying to chase him down, and of course, you know, this is going to be fantastic. Ben Smith in that Ferrari up into 5th now, but you know, Rodo and of course Fred Coleman are going to be having a bit of a battle themselves as well. So Rodo versus Fred Coleman. Fred Coleman hops the curb, which loses ground now to Rodo, and Jack Evans there, I believe he's struggling at the moment. I don't know what's happening at the moment, but he seems to have a bit of issues with his McLaren. Seems to be a bit of a weird one, but you know, Dan Bailey up onto the back of Doug Idol. Doug runs a bit deep going into that turn, which allows, in turn, probably allows Dan Bailey. Dan Bailey hops the curb, but that's allowed Doug Idol back into potentially 9th place if it is 4th position. You've got Scott Fenton. You can just see Chris Cleaver up the road, and obviously Andy White there in 4th place. Ben Smith doing a good job in potentially now 5th place. You've got Rodo and Fred Coleman. Fred's now gained onto the back of Rodo with 6 minutes to go, and this is going to be pretty much very interesting for these guys, I tell you. Nissan GTR versus the Lexus. So you know, Ben Smith in that Ferrari is probably thinking, thank you, sort yourselves out, lads, you know, I'm in for a good place finish yet again. But as I say, you've got Fred Coleman and Rodo having a bit of a battle with coming up to 5 minutes and 20 on the clock. But you know, this has been a fantastic race. You know, whatever's happened during the race, you know, it's been very interesting. I believe Andy White now has been escaped from Scott Fenton. Scott Fenton is trying to chase down Chris Cleaver for potentially 2nd place, but he's got 5 minutes to go. We know how Scott can put on a late lunge. You've got, you know, Ben Smith. I believe Ben Smith is there, but Fred Coleman now has got past Rodo for 6th place, so he's going to now chase on to potentially Ben Smith. Well, this is going to be weird. This is going to be fantastic. Doug Idol there, still in 9th. You've got Dan Bailey in 10th. You've got Dan Wyatt in 11th. But oh my goodness gracious, this has been fantastic. It's going to be one. It's going to be one absolute amazing battle with 4.5 minutes to go towards the end. Silver Carter is now going to be having Scott Fenton filling his mirrors. Oh, you know, is this going to be? Is this going to be Scott Fenton's chance to get up into 2nd place? Chris Cleaver there. These two had a bit of issues at Suzuka, if you remember rightly. But you know, fair play. Scott Fenton from a drive-through penalty now challenging for 2nd place with 4 minutes to go. This is going to be nerve-wracking. Chris Cleaver's probably thinking, what have I got to do to get that grey and green Audi R8 out of my mirrors? But you know, this is going to be spectacular. Andy White still in 4th place. Ben Smith now eking out the gap from Fred Coleman. Fred Coleman is going to be putting Ben Smith under a lot of pressure if he can catch him. Rodo in 7th, followed by Jack Evans in 8th place. You've got Doug and Dan Bailey, and of course Dan Wyatt still battling for 9th, 10th and 11th. Dan Bailey hops the curb, but I'm going to go back to this battle between none other than Scott Fenton and Chris Cleaver. The Mercedes versus the Audi, so the two German joint car manufacturers are going to be battling it out. You've got Dylan still in first place in that Bentley, but we've got 3 minutes to go. Chris Cleaver hops to curb. That's allowed Scott Fenton to gain up onto the back of him. But 3 minutes to go. Scott Fenton is going to be gaining on Chris Cleaver. Is he going to make second place before the end of the race? We shall see, but you know, this is going to be very interesting. It's going to be proper close. Scott Fenton is trying to go on the outside. Chris Cleaver closes the door, says not on your life, Scott. You know, we've had issues in the past, but you know, Silver Carter, Chris Cleaver is closing the door on Scott Fenton. Scott Fenton's going to try and make a move into the chicane. You watch, is he going to make the move? No, he's a bit back, but Chris Cleaver is slowing him up. Scott Fenton now is there. He's probably going to get frustrated. He's probably going to flash the lights and say, come on mate, I want this second place. You know, this is going to be fantastic. We've got 2 minutes to go. Scott Fenton there in the Audi R8 against the Mercedes. This is going to be fantastic stuff. Look at this. What have we got going on? But you know, 2 minutes to go. Scott Fenton's going to throw everything at Chris Cleaver here. But I'll try and focus if there's any other battles going on. But you know, it's going to be very interesting. I believe Dan Bailey at the moment, as we see on the mini-map, has got past Doug Idol. Scott Fenton tries to make a move in the chicane. Chris Cleaver hops to chicane again, which has allowed Scott Fenton onto his boot lid. So the Mercedes versus the Audi, this is going to be fantastic stuff. We'll try and see if we can focus on other battles. But at the moment it's going to be very hard because of this battle for second place off of the podium. Second place off the podium between Scott Fenton and of course Chris Cleaver. But Chris Cleaver's holding on for dear life with 1 minute and 10 seconds to go. Chris Cleaver thinks about allowing Scott Fenton through, but Scott Fenton's on the outside. Chris Cleaver closes the door. But you know, with 1 minute to go, Scott Fenton is going to give everything he's got. You know, what has Scott got to do? As I say, Dan Bailey up into 9th place, Dan Wyatt in 10th now, and Doug Idol's dropped to 11th. That's a shame for Doug, but I'm going to probably see what I can have a look in a bit. But you've got Scott Fenton at the moment with 35 seconds to go. Oh my goodness, Scott Fenton is pushing and pushing. He's going to push Chris Cleaver all the way. All the way. But look at this, Scott Fenton at the moment, the Irishman to the back of Chris Cleaver there. Scott Fenton. So congratulations to Dylan, that wins the race ahead of Silver Carter, and you know, this is going to be a battle for second place. Is Silver Carter, Chris Cleaver, they both hop the curb there. But this is going to be fantastic. Scott Fenton at the moment. Oh my goodness, Scott Fenton, what's he going to do? He's going to be pushing Chris Cleaver to the absolute maximum. But I cannot believe what we're about to see. Scott Fenton and of course Chris Cleaver, but Scott has got to do his move now. He's got to make it. He's got to try and make it, otherwise Chris Cleaver will get second place. But this is going to be epic. I do apologise if you want to see other battles, but this is the battle that we've been looking at. But Chris Cleaver there, is he going to hold on for second? Scott Fenton runs a bit wide going out of the final turn. Chris Cleaver takes second from Scott Fenton. What an absolute nail biter. Oh my goodness. But you've got Andy White coming home in 4th place. And then Ben Smith in 5th, followed by Fred Coleman in 6th, then Rodo in potentially... Well, I'll just get this screenshot of the results. Oh my goodness. Just bear with 1 second guys while I get the screenshot of the results, and then I will potentially get you guys here. But you know, this has been fantastic, I believe. So the race, that was an absolute epic race. So as I say, Dylan wins the race from Chris Cleaver, followed by Scott Fenton, and of course I believe it was, if I remember rightly, Andy White from Ben Smith from from Fred, from Jack, and then of course Dan Wyatt, and of course Dan Bailey and Doug Idol. And I believe it was very interesting and very intense, so you know it's going to be very interesting to see what happens within the next week. Next week I believe we're at Mount Panorama, the legendary Bathurst circuit, so it's going to be very interested to see what happens within that. And I'll tell you what, Bathurst is going to be spectacular, and I'll tell you what guys, I can't believe what I've seen. I'm absolutely speechless. But yes, as I say, I do apologise to start the race because I couldn't select the cars, which made me a bit annoyed, but you know, these things happen. But we'll catch it up and potentially put on a good show. Hope you've enjoyed the stream guys, and I'll tell you what, roll on Bathurst and let's see what's going to happen at Bathurst as of next week. So without further ado guys, I've been Hoppers, and yes, I will see you as of Wednesday for the Mugen Masters. Will be when the next time I'm in when I'm next time in the commentary box, and then we will be at so then you will have the Porsche Commons, the BTCC Blueprints Porsche Commons on Friday, followed by the Shell Alarm and British Touring Cars, and then obviously the Hoppers Motorsport Vlogs Mazda MX-5s. Don't forget we've got GR2s tomorrow, so that's the JTCC, and then on Wednesday, as I say, we've got the Mugen Masters, and also we've got the Peugeot 208, and then the new season of the Porsche Commons, as well as the BTCC and the Hoppers Motorsport Vlogs Mazda MX-5s. So until then guys, I will see you very soon. Take care. Ta-ra.